Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Mike Kollin at crackedfemalecode.com. Okay, so this video, the first part is going to be essentially the theme of my course and essentially what it's about, okay? The second piece is going to be a technique that you can use to make things more comfortable between you and a woman, especially if you just met her, or anytime actually. And the final piece is going to be something that happened with my dad that it broke my heart. It was when he was older and we were walking down his driveway and he just burst out into tears. Now, I'd never, ever seen my dad cry, like not even once in my life. All right, so first of all, there is a lot of science behind this course, and I mean decades of research and study. I mean beyond what you can imagine, okay? Beyond psychology, it's everything from NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, to the unconscious mind, to hypnosis, to consciousness work, to energy work, to stuff that I learned from a Buddhist monk from Laos, a really powerful monk. He taught me some really important, not only understandings about the difference between men and women, but what women need in order to feel loved from a man. So regardless of whether you took a Tony Robbins course, the relationship course, or Dr. John Gray, or Dr. Barbara DeAngelis, or 10 pickup artist courses from the best pickup artist, coaches in the world, this course is the greatest course on the planet. Now you might be saying, oh, okay, yeah, whatever, dude. Well, I'm only saying that because the people that have studied with me, one guy was worth $300 million. He flew in on his own plane. He heard about me from someone, and then he read my book, and after he finished it, he literally called me that night and said, how soon can you see me? He flew in the next day at 10 o'clock in the morning on his own plane. He had gone through his third divorce and he was perplexed. He just like, I don't understand, because I've done all the Tony Robbins relationship courses. Me and my wife did one-on-one coaching with Tony. We went to his elite training in Fiji Islands where he only allows, I think it was 20 couples or 30 couples. And he said he went to the Dr. John Gray, this, that, etc. And he had said after the third day of training, he said, this is by far the best training I've ever taken in my life. He goes, you blow Tony Robbins away when it comes to relationship skills, when it comes to understanding what women want from men. Hands down, you're the best. And then I had a guy with 2 doctorate degrees who also was going through his second divorce and losing another home. And him and both his ex-wives had gone to the Tony Robbins relationship seminars and trainings, bought the home study program, went to multiple Dr. John, because Dr. actually lived 15 minutes from Dr. John Gray. So this guy lived north of me about 20 minutes. So he had not only gone to all of his seminars, read his books, the home study program. Him and his wife also went to one-on-one coaching with Dr. John Gray, and they ended up in a divorce, okay, for the second time. Now, when he first walked in the door, I think at the time I was 34 years old and he was about 43. Perfect shape, athletic, muscular. He owned 2 successful businesses. Guy was a multimillionaire, etc. He walked in the door and kind of grinned at me, and I said, what? He goes, honestly, I don't know what you could possibly teach me that I don't already know. Right off the bat, I knew I was dealing with someone who had an ego. So I told him, I said, hey, it's a money-back guarantee. If at any point you don't think this course is worth it, you don't pay me a dime and you get to walk. He said, deal, no problem. So what happened was, I think it was the beginning, let me think, third day? Yeah, at the beginning of the third or fourth day, he came in with a stack of hardcover autographed signed books by Tony Robbins, Dr. John Gray, Dr. Barbara DeAngelis, in a home study program, etc. So he had a stack of stuff. He walks in, slams it down on my wooden table, big hardwood table. And I looked and I was like, hey, I told you, like you don't pay if you're not 100% completely satisfied. He goes, no, I'm not mad. I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, you're right. Everything you've been saying about the way that men process information changes the meaning to everything that women say. He goes, I was taking copious notes in Dr. John Gray's seminars like I did for my doctorate degrees. I'm like, okay. He goes, I thought I understood what he was saying. He goes, my brain literally switched everything to the complete opposite of what he was saying. He goes, and me and my wife would just argue like cat and dog. She's like, no, that's not what he's saying. And he goes, yes, he is. This is what he said, and this is what it means. And he said, you're right. Men are not hearing the same thing women are hearing. The whole time, all these years when I was married to her and my wife before, I really, really believed from the bottom of my heart, I thought I really understood what they were teaching. And it turns out I literally was hearing the opposite of what they were teaching. And that's the difference between right brain processing versus left brain processing. They are two different processors, as different as the Apple processor versus the IBM processor. They process communication and information in the opposite way of each other, literally. Now, Adam was another one. He flew out from London, England, and he didn't tell me the first training he took. But he came out, and he told me this in the second training, because I said, hey, why are you coming out? Because last time all you did was argue and fight, and I'm not going to do that again. He goes, well, because it worked. I'm like, well, what are you talking about? He goes, everything you teach is work. Now, Adam, when he first came in, every day, I took all the best pickup artist courses in the world. I flew, because Adam's a wealthy guy. I've flown all over Europe, all over America, the world, took the best pickup artist courses, took this guy's course, that guy's course, and I said, for what purpose? He goes, well, I told you, I want to get married. And it said, how long have you been doing this? Now, he said it proudly. For 10 years. I'm like, for 10 years, huh? He goes, yeah. I go, well, how well did it work for you? And he goes, what do you mean? I go, well, how well did those courses work for you? He goes, what do you mean? I go, what was your purpose? And he would tell me how he spent $10,000 on this one course, $5,000 on another, and on and on and on. And he bragged about it. And I'm like, well, what was your purpose for spending all that money and flying all over the world, taking the best courses in the world? He goes, I told you to get married. And then I said again, how well did that work for you? And he goes, what do you mean? I go, oh my God, dude. I go, why did you take those courses? He goes, I told you to get married. I go, exactly. So how well did those courses work? He goes, oh, I see what you're saying. He goes, actually, they didn't work at all. I go, exactly. Do you want to know why? Because all of those courses are left brain male courses. So our brain goes, yeah, this makes sense, but it doesn't work for the right brain, the female brain. And remember, her mating system's connected to the right brain. So if it wasn't a left brain course, you were taking those words and processing them through the left brain, which changed the meaning into something that you thought was left brain. And this is what happens between men and women all the time. She says A out of her right brain, and you pull all those words and you filter them through your left brain processor, and it changes the meaning to everything she just said. And now you're hearing B when she's actually saying A. And on top of that, we are literally speaking two different sub-languages. There's the left brain linear external language versus the right female brain's internal non-linear language. They're literally, it's as different as Spanish, German, Italian, English, etc. They're radically different languages with radically different processors that give radically different meaning to the same exact words. We do not understand each other. The breakthroughs that I made in my course are the answers to everything you have been looking for when it comes to understanding the opposite sex, getting along with, romancing, attracting, turning on, and seducing women. And guess what? This is not the male form of attraction. This is not the male form of seduction. It's the female form, because that's the form that she likes, enjoys, and consciously understands. She is aware of it. You are not, and that's the problem. In fact, one of the biggest marketing problems of this whole course is I can't do it in the female way. I have to do it in the male way, which makes you guys go, oh, this is just like all the other courses. No, it's not. Literally, I will literally prove to you this is 180 degrees going in the opposite direction course. And that is a pure neurological and scientific fact. We are neurologically wired in the opposite direction of each other. And that's what this chart is about. This chart comes from my manual for the course. What you as a man thinks is romance to a woman has nothing, zero, zippo, nada, nothing to do with romance. She's looking at you going, why is he doing this? You know what? When I have female clients, they'll ask me like, well, why do men do that? I go, he's trying to romance you. And she's like, doing that? Why? That's not romance. The male form of romance, now listen closely. The male form of romance is the male form of romance for men. The female form of romance is the form of romance for females. It's different. Believe it or not, but the form of romance that you're using and doing to her is what you do to romance a man. Kind of creepy, huh? But here's the deal. The reason why you do it is because that's the way you are neurologically wired. So to your brain, to your mating system, you're like, yeah, well, this is romance. And she's looking at you going, what? No, it's not. You keep paying for dinners and buying things and roses and flowers and getting chrome shiny hubcaps and waxing your car and getting a paint job and getting a better haircut and buying a new dress shirt and buttoning it up and tucking your shirt in. All this stuff is to attract a man. Remember, men are external and men are visual. The male mating system is connected to the optic nerve, which connects to your eyes. That's why you are sexually stimulated and turned on visually. Like, look at her. She has beautiful eyes. You just look at her lips, her nose, her skin. It's soft and smooth and sensual. You want to kiss her because she looks, eyes, I'm pointing to my eye, looks visually attractive. That's the male mating system strategy. That is not NOT, not the female strategy. The female mating system, her strategy, is connected, has a nerve that curves off to the right brain's communication center. Again, right brain, not logical left brain. Men use the left brain and we speak in the logical external linear language. That turns her off. So her mating system connects to her right brain's communication center, which is a different language and a different form of communicating and processing communication. This is why women love poems and poetry. This is why women love to have long talks. This is why women love romance novels. Now, when a man reads a romance novel through his left brain, it just sounds boring. And I'll be honest with you, until I understood the right brain language and it could process in that way, I was like, these are dumb. Like, why would anyone? My friend's mom, she had an entire wall of I'm talking well over 1,000 romance novels. And I was like, there's no way you read all those books. And her husband and her 2 sons looked at me and go, oh, she'll read a book in one day. I'm like, there's no way. She said, no. She goes, I read 3 books in a week. What you didn't know was that was porno. It was literally female XXX rated porno. See, there are hidden right brain patterns within the structure of language that men are not aware of. When you become aware of these hidden structural patterns, all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, is that why? Like, yes, that's why it turns her on sexually, because it's going in her ear and that connects to the nerve that goes down to the mating system, and it literally triggers and turns on and seduces her. Now here's Adam, a second time he came out from London, the UK, okay? So when he came out, the first thing we did, he flew in, checked in, and then I picked him up a couple hours later after he took a nap, and I took him across the road to a really nice restaurant. And the first thing I asked him was like, okay, so why did you come out again? And the reason why I asked him, and I even brought this up, I said, because last time all you did was argue and fight and disagree, and it was really, I go, honestly, if you're going to do that again, I go, I'm telling you right now, you might as well just fly home. So he told me, he goes, honestly, he goes, the reason why I flew out the first time was just to prove to you that you didn't know what the F you're doing. I was like, what? He goes, the concepts on your videos just, now this is my older channel that I had years ago. He goes, the concepts on your video, they were just so opposite of everything the pickup artist courses were teaching. I'm like, well, yeah, because those courses don't work. And then I go, so why did you come out? He goes, when I went home, I suddenly started meeting women everywhere I went. He goes, it was effortless. It was easy. I'm like, okay, so why are you coming? He goes, because it works. I'm like, well, so why are you coming out if it works? He goes, well, I didn't really pay attention. I spent my whole time disagreeing with you because I just couldn't believe what you were saying was real. Because that's how foreign this stuff is to the male brain. It's really weird when you first hear it. You're like, wait, what? But then when you go and do it, women respond. One of the biggest things I have to get your brain to wrap itself around is understanding the concepts. You want a bunch of tips. You want a bunch of tricks. Do you know why? Because that's the left brain. The left brain is all about getting to the point, getting to the tip. Now, this is something I learned in a communication course. This one was from a Neuro-Linguistic Programming NLP course. NLP is neuro-linguistic. Linguistics is about language and communication. Okay? So at the very bottom is the tip. That's the left brain. That's the male brain. You guys are all about being specific and detailed, getting to the point. This is why men always say to each other or to women, hey, just get to the point. That's part of the left brain male languaging. Another thing is, like on the left, it says why or how specifically, why specifically, get to the point, or what's the point, what's your point. All of these things piss women off. Because women want to see the bigger picture. They want you to connect the pieces or the points together, the pieces of the puzzle, to all the other pieces so it builds up to the bigger picture. That's right brain functioning. When you learn how to process in this way and speak the right brain language, lo and behold, all of a sudden the clouds part way, the Red Sea parts way, and all of a sudden you can cross right across that bridge, and all of a sudden women will open up to you. I highly recommend your next step is to buy my book, Crack the Female Code. That is the core of all my books. And it's a requirement before taking the course. Okay, I'm going to be really open and honest about something that I just did. I used a male phrase, and that male phrase is the next step. So this is part of male languaging. Okay, there was a Toyota dealership lady, or sales lady that worked at Toyota, and we discussed this. And when I said that, like, look, this is the female language, this is how men process communication, she goes, wait a minute, I do that. Out of frustration, she accidentally used the male language, and the male language is like, well, what's the next step? Well, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and then she goes, next step. I was like, yeah, you're going up and down the line. Now, I'll go into detail in my course, or I might make a separate video. But what I'm trying to tell you, okay, so for her, she doubled, tripled her sales when it came to men. In fact, she goes, I couldn't sell a car to a man for the life of me. They would always go up the road 30 minutes to Petaluma, and they'd buy a Toyota truck, the same car, for more money, for a higher interest rate, for a higher monthly payment, and with less options. In other words, no air conditioning, wouldn't get the sports model, etc. She goes, I just couldn't understand, like, why were they buying a more expensive car and getting less options when I was willing to give them all of that for a less expensive price? And what it came down to was she was trying to use the female language to sell to men, and it just doesn't work. Now, the female language works for women. You want to use that language to sell to women, but not to men. So when she figured out the male way of processing it or communicating a language to him, all of a sudden her sales skyrocketed. I mean, through the roof. This course will have a magnification effect on your entire life, not just women, not just picking up women, but also making a marriage work, making a woman happen, making sales, increasing your social life. So it literally gives you what's called social power and social influence. And guess what? Lo and behold, this is what triggers a woman's mating system, a man with social power and social influence. It's not $1 million. I actually live in a very wealthy area. I know people that have trust funds that have multi-million-dollar homes, people that are very good at their business. They've got their doctorate degrees, but man, when it comes to their social life, they don't have none. They have zero influence. People are not attracted to them. People don't want to talk to them. If anything, they repel people. It's not money. And here's the other thing. You will get more money when you learn how to do this. Alright, so let me tell you what it's not real quickly, and then I'll tell you what it is. So number one, it is not manipulation. That's left brain. This is right brain. It's all about allowing and letting, and I'm not going to be allowing, I want control. No, in order to gain control, you have to let go. Because the male form of control is equivalent to putting the brakes on in a car, and you don't go anywhere. This is why you feel stuck in life. A lot of you guys, you're not just stuck when it comes to relationships with women. You're stuck in life, period. You're not moving forward because unconsciously you're using the left brain and you're putting the brakes on. When I use the right brain word allow, what I'm talking about is letting the brakes off and putting your foot on the gas pedal, and now you're moving forward. And this course will teach you how to do that. Here's the other part. This is not a logical course if you haven't figured that out by now. This is literally the non-linear form of logic. See, what men consider logic is the left brain linear, L-A-N-E, meaning it goes in a line. And that's what that sales lady figured out. You guys need to be sold in a step-by-step process that goes in a line, like step 1, step 2, step 3. Before I do this, then later after. So you're going up and down a line. She accidentally fell upon this, and then she used it from that point on, and boom, increased her sales massively when it came to selling to men. And I mean massively, like almost 100%. So again, we're talking physics, science. We're talking like math. When you go up into higher realms of math, there's linear math and there's non-linear, which means it's a circular form of math. There's linear physics and there's non-linear physics. Okay, this is not something I'm making up. If you've went to college, if you've studied these things, you would have gone far enough to be like, oh yeah, of course, there's the non-linear processor, which is the Apple computer's processor. So in other words, you have to learn how to let go of thinking, and that's a very hard thing for men. Well, lucky for you, that's the mastery of me and the mastery of my course that I've been working on for 30 years. I've mastered the art of getting men to let go of that logical, linear thinking because it turns women off. So this is a conditioning course. It's going to condition you to open up. And this literally is what Bruce Lee meant when he said, don't think, feel. Because this is where you get your power, from the open source, okay? The left brain is the limited brain. It's in the box thinking. The right brain is the open, unlimited brain. This is where you get your power. It's literally outside of the box thinking. For example, a lot of my clients will be like, well, you know, we'll go to the mall or wherever, and he'll pick a girl, and he goes, well, what should I say to her? Well, or no, they'll say, well, what's the right thing to say? And I'm like, why are you thinking? Well, I'm thinking of the right thing to say to her because I don't want to say the wrong thing. That's either or thinking. That's left brain thinking, either or. So I look at him and say, you're already dead in the water. The minute you go up there with that mental energy, that mental focus, you're going to turn her off. That either or, what's the right thing to say? You're already wrong. You're already wrong. There is no right thing to say. The right or wrong thing to say is left brain thinking. What you want to say is, and this is what I'll say to them, well, what do you want to say to her? And usually they go, well, I want to say the right thing. I'm like, no, dude, you're blowing it. So then I'll say, look, do you honestly like girls, or are you just jerking my chain here? Like, no, I like girls. I'm like, okay, so what about her? Do you actually like her? Are you attracted to her? Or are you just like full of shit? Are you just bullshitting me? They're like, no, I really like her. I go, so what do you like about her? Well, I think she's cute. And then there's a pattern that I'll teach you on how to describe that and how to explain that to her in the female way. And boom, she'll receive you and open up to you. And here's the funny thing. Your emotional nervous system starts to relax. The more you use this way of approaching women, talking to women, opening conversations, all of a sudden, like, wow, women really like this. And your body emotionally relaxes and the fear goes away, and all of a sudden opening up conversation. See, Adam was like, God, you seem so comfortable with women. I'm like, well, it's because I'm not lying, I'm not bullshitting, I'm not manipulating, I'm not playing mind games, here's what I'm not doing. I'm not using canned memorized openers. That's a lie. So here's the deal. Women do not want you to say the right or wrong opened canned line, the right opener, the right memorized canned opener or line. What they want is, what do you feel? What do you think? Why do you like me? What about me do you like? That's what they want to hear, because they were trying to get to know who you are. When you memorized open canned lines, that's not you. That's a memorization pattern. And it literally means, see, you can use a memorized line on any woman. But she's looking at you going, so what do you like about me? What, you memorized something out of a book? That's not her, and that's not what you like about her. So the right thing is to tell her what you like about her, and then tell her what you like about that. Again, this is a whole pattern I teach in the course, okay? And again, sincerely, the next step for you is to buy my book, Crack the Female Code, right now, so you can start going down this path. That book alone for $35 is going to blow your mind away. I promise you. Everyone who buys the book ends up calling me saying, Jesus, you should have charged $100 for this book. It's that good. You're going to get a series of communication techniques, NLP techniques, a series of concepts that will help you understand women and why women are the way they are, and what they like in relationships and what turns them on. I mean, it's a litany of science, proof, examples, techniques, and on and on. So now, one piece about what this course is about. It's about heart. It's about opening up to your heart. It's about communicating from that space. Now that phrase, from that space, guess what? Yep, that's a right brain female phrase. Believe it or not, but using these words and phrases in a natural manner, and that's hard. See, if you just memorize them and spit them out, it's going to sound mechanical. And that's why you can't just, give me the techniques, just give me the lines and the opener. You're going to be doing them from the left brain, and it's going to seem mechanical, and they're going to look at you like, what the? It's going to seem weird. It's going to make it very awkward. See, the left brain is literally the mechanical scientific brain. The right brain is the natural brain, where there's no thinking, there's just feeling and flowing and going through life. So when you open up to your right brain, all of a sudden you don't have to think, you just communicate unconsciously and naturally, and it becomes really, really easy. And all the fear and anxiety goes away, because you're not trying to get her to like her. You're not trying to give her an opener or line. You're not lying. You're not giving her some memorized canned freaking line. Women hate that. And if you get past that first date or two, and she finds out later that you've been using a bunch of canned lines, she's gonna be pissed, because she's gonna realize, like, this guy doesn't give a shit. He's just memorizing shit and just spitting it out to see what works. He's not communicating from his heart. And that is what she wants. See, when you do all that memorized canned lines and openers and shit, it's like so she's getting to know, let's say, guy number B. This is your mask. It's not real. Just a bunch of memorized stuff to get laid, to turn her on. And then later on, see what happens is, eventually the real you's just going to be yourself, and she's going to be like, who the fuck is this? It's going to freak her the fuck out. It's like Jekyll and Hyde. It's like a goddamn psychopath who had a mask on the whole time, and it will freak her out. And this is why men are like, why are you so pissed? I don't understand. And let me tell you something. The best way to destroy a relationship from the first moment you meet her is start using canned openers and lines, because eventually you're going to have to be yourself, and she's going to figure it out. And it's like, well, who's this person? And I'm telling you, because it actually happened to me years ago. It freaked me the fuck out. I was like, whoa, what the fuck is this? Now, here's the funny thing. When you are genuinely just communicating from like, hey, this is what I think, this is what I feel, this is what I like, women love that. And it makes her relax around you. She feels comfortable, and she's more likely to open up to you mentally, emotionally, and, yes, physically. Now here's the only challenge. You have to learn how to communicate it from the right brain language, from the right brain way, so she can receive it in a way that her processor can relate to it and understand. Because if you don't do it in this way, she's looking at you like you're a foreigner speaking a foreign language. This is the most classiest, heartfelt, heart-based course on the planet. No lying, no manipulating, no bullshitting, no games, none of that. This is all heart and soul. Oh, and the good thing, no memorization, so you don't have to stress over that. Okay, so I'm going to give you a bit of a technique that we will go much more in depth in the course, but this will help. Okay, so here's what it is. The male brain is the push energy. It's like the penis that pushes into the vagina. Well, our language, our thinking, and our body language also does the same thing. It's the penetrating linear language it pushes into, okay? So what most men do, and women hate this, is they lean forward and they lock on eyeball to eyeball. And men go, but women always say you got to make eye-to-eye contact. No, not in the linear laser beam way. And that's what most women call it. It's like I get laser beamed and like it freaking hurts my eyeball, dude. Like, what are you doing? So remember, the female way is the open way. The male way is the laser beam closed, target on, like you're looking down a scope, aiming at a target like at a deer's heart, and you're going to shoot it and kill it. No. We're not hunting women, we're not shooting them, and we're not killing them. Oh, and by the way, just so you know, inside the male mating system, inside the lower reptilian brain, which is where the male mating system is, right next to it, guess what's right there? Your hunter system. So when a man gets attracted to a woman, he goes, bzz, he becomes Terminator, bzz, 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 target locked on, and that little X thing that like a scope that goes across, like when you look through and you want to aim at the pinpoint of the cross, you literally go into that zone, and women literally feel like they're being hunted. I know, because they've came up to me, it's like, God, it's like they're hunting us, and they're going to hunt us down and kill us and eat us for dinner. And she doesn't mean sexually, she means literally kill her. That's what the male way of doing is. It when a man's attracted to a woman, that's what it does. It makes her feel like she's hunted, because you are going into your hunter mode, literally. And it turns her off because it makes her feel like you're desperate. And the number one thing, the number one red flag the female mating system is looking for, if you are desperate, mentally, emotionally, physically, sexually, it is a massive turnoff, because it means you don't got game and something's not right with you, which means you're probably not going to be a good mate to mate with for life and raise a family. But Mike, I make $100,000 a year. I make $250,000 a year. It doesn't matter. You could make $10 million a year, and if you're showing this hunter beam, laser beam, hunter mode, it shows desperation. It shows that you're hungry. If you're hungry, you don't have abundance and opulence. Now you're thinking, but Mike, my bank, it doesn't matter. Her mating system is not in the logical brain. It's in the instinctual fight or flight brain. It doesn't know what a bank is. It doesn't know what electricity is. It's like it's in the caveman era where there's lions and tigers and bears, oh my, and there's trees and there's jungle. That's what it relates to. It doesn't understand computers and money and stuff like that. Alright, so here's the technique. Most men will lean forward, or even if she's across the room, he will physically lean forward about 3 to 6, well, maybe not 6 inches, about 2 or 3 inches, and a lock-on laser beam style where your pupils are small and they come together like aiming at a point. What you want to do is you want to physically pull your body back about 1.5 inches to 2 inches. You want to be more neutral, upright, or maybe slightly leaning back, but don't lean back too much, it'll freak her out. You want to be more neutral maybe, and then another thing you do is take a half a step back from a woman. You want to, and write this down, you want to give a woman space, okay? The right brain is all about space. When you allow a woman to have her own space around her, and you don't crowd her, and your eyes don't go into that bubble, okay? Everyone has a bubble around them. Most men will go right through that bubble, right to her. No. When a woman says that she wants you to gaze into her eyes, she doesn't really mean into. What she really means is peripheral vision. She wants you to go left to right and expand your vision and open up to receive her beauty. Her beauty, but the male way is to look out. Like, hey, when you go to the Golden Gate Bridge and you look out towards the sunset, right? Out to the ocean. The male brain, his right eye goes all the way out there. The female does the opposite. She goes into peripheral vision, her pupils dilate and get larger, and the pupils physically pull apart. And now she is opening up like a wide funnel. And the sunset, the view, comes to her and goes into her eyes and down into her heart. That's why women say, oh, when I open up, what did she say? Open up and receive this beautiful view into my heart. It's like things are coming into her, going down inside into her. It's literally just like her vagina. It has to open up to receive the penis. This is the way women experience the world. Now, you heard that, but you don't quite understand it. When you take the course, I will condition the shit out of this into you. And all of a sudden, like, oh, I see what you're saying. Like, yeah, they literally receive images that go down. They're like, oh, when I just open up my heart and I receive this beautiful sunset. And you're like, open your what? Receive the what? The sunset? Wait, receive? What are you talking about? No, you look out. You go from your eyes and go outwards because that's the left brain way. So remember what I told you a minute ago about it's all about space for women, that the right brain's all about the space to respect her space? This is why women are always saying, hey, I'm not in that space. So earlier in this video, about 25 minutes ago, I talked about, hey, you know, she might not be in this space, or she needs to be in the right space. It's a right brain language about being emotionally in the right space. So if you're locked down laser beam looking down this little tube, a scope in that linear vision, there is no space. You got to open it wide open. So go into peripheral vision. Now let me add one more piece. As you're in peripheral vision, I want you to bring your awareness back to your chest, because now you literally just took the pressure off of her. The male brain, it pushes and pushes, and you look at her, your eyeballs go onto her, and it's causing pressure, and it's causing her to tighten up, and she feels pressured, which is when she's like, yeah, I'm out of here, dude. So the entire course is all about taking the pressure off of her, creating no pressure, going neutral, allowing her to feel comfortable in her own space. When you do that, women open up to you. And yes, that's me with Buddhist monks at the Richmond Laotian temple. We were actually studying right there. Alright, so this is Mike Kollin at crackedfemalecode.com. Remember, click subscribe, click the like button, make a comment, and get over to my website, go to crackedfemalecode.com and buy my book, Crack the Female Code, okay? That is the base of everything that I'm going to teach you. I'm just going to leave it at, it's going to blow your mind. It's 500 pages.